Hello friends, it's Sherry from Turquoise Dreaming. How you doing today? Welcome to my channel. I'm super excited to start a new project here, my first project of 2021. So this is something that I've had in my head for at least 4 months, okay? And I've kind of been wanting to do it, like really super wanting to do it, but I keep having other responsibilities, and I said, and I was going to put it off again. I was going to say, I got to do this and that and this, and then I can do this. I'm like, no, I'm going to start off 2021 with doing something I want to do. So this is what I want to do. And you might think I'm crazy, but this is a little project, and I'm going to show you why I'm calling it little. These are some little old grungy book covers. Aren't they cute? I love them. So I found these just like this. No interior, no book block, no nothing, no pages, nothing inside. Just like this at the thrift store. Okay, so they're both like little dictionaries. So this one's, let me show you. It's hard to read the first word, but the second word is definitely dictionary. Let me show you how grungy this is. Who knows? This has got to be like 100 years old, right? I mean, why else would it look like this? Vera Chemical Company. These both have advertisements, I think. At least this one does. Look at the back of this one. It's almost like embossed. Okay, of course I'm going to put a new spine on here and glue it back together. But in here, I'm going to try to leave this. I'm going to have to put the new spine and then something here. But I'm going to try to leave this. It says read this twice. And then I'll let you read it. Whoever gets this will be able to read this. But this is going to be little journals that I put in my shop. This back here says, well, what's here is HENCK''S. And then I think it says something like, I'm trying to see if there's another reference to it. Something like Andrake pills, and then it says something about vegetable and strictly reliable, and it's some kind of pills I guess they sold back whenever this was first put out. Liver and for your liver and stomach, it says right there. Headache, it looks like one of those cure-all pills that you hear about, like from the medicine people that used to go around and sell their pills, right? in like the whatever early 1900s or even late 1800s. So anyway, I'm going to turn this little old grungy book cover into a journal. That's one. The second one is a French English dictionary. You can see what it says here. It has French up here. Dictionnaire, that's French, and here Français, Anglais. Right there, Francais to Anglais, Anglais to Francais, and here's a little chicken or rooster there. It's green. This one doesn't have anything on the inside, so I'm going to put some pretty papers here, since it doesn't matter, And of course, there's no dates or anything on these, but I'm thinking these got to be over 100 years old, but they're not worth anything like this. Of course, no one else wanted them, so I got them and said I've had them in my closet here in my craft room on a pile of book covers that I want to do some of them I want to do something with, some of them I don't know what to do with, but I've used the inside, and then I have the book cover left. These two I knew I wanted to make a journal out of, so we're going to get started with these today, right now. So let's just do it. Let's see what we can do with these little things. Let me tell you the size of this one, since it looks like we're going to start with this one. This is 3 inches wide by just under 5.5. So small. Here's my hand. You can see it's smaller than my hand. Okay, so I'm just going to have to cut this tape. Somebody put tape on here. Yeah, there must have been, I don't know if a spine was there when it went to the thrift store, or if it went to the thrift store like this. But this is how I found it, exactly like this. So I'm going to see what I can do with these little book covers. I just think they're adorable. And we'll get to pages and other things later. But right now, I just want to for this video, see what we can get done on these little book covers. So, and I like grungy book covers, so I don't like usually put book corners on unless it's really chewed up or something, because I think it's just all part of the charm. You can see how it is without that tape. But now see, there's some tape on here. Let's see, there's a little tape, the tape that they wrapped around, it's on the front of the book. So let's see if this can come off without further damaging this little cover. If it looks like it's going to damage it, I might have to leave it on there. We'll see. Let's see, because this is like, almost feels like canvas on the front of this. Okay, yeah, it's coming off okay. All right, there we go. That's progress. So, yeah, I thought this would be, could be really cool. I kind of have an idea in my mind what I want to do, but I don't know exactly how this is going to turn out. So we'll just see. We'll see how it turns out. I'm sure it's going to be something, right? It's going to turn out like something. Okay, so this tape is coming off good, thank goodness. I don't know how it does it. It's not like brown or anything. I don't know. I don't know. But apparently the owner put it on there, I would think. I don't know if the thrift store put it on there. And tried to keep the book together, and then the book got taken apart. I don't know. I did not see any of the pages, though. They weren't floating around anywhere on the shelf or anything at the bookstore. Okay, so I think we have all the tape off the front cover. And there's no tape on the inside. So there's a little string here. A couple little strings I keep trying to cut off that are just kind of floating out from this like fabric or whatever's on here. Okay, so there's some tape on here. I'm taking it, let's see, I'm trying to take it off from this side so I don't like rip any of this off over here. I really would like to get the spines at least done during this video, but we'll see. I'm going to do as much as I can on video for these 2 journals, but the things I do off video are usually things I have to think about it, look around, maybe dig through my craft room, type of thing, and that's not something I could do on video. So I don't think you want to just sit there and watch blank space while I'm digging through my drawers and things here in my craft room. So that's why I can't do everything on video, but I'm going to do as much as I can. Okay, so that one is ready for a little spine. Let's go ahead and cut. I got some cardboard out here, or chipboard, whatever you want to call it. Let's cut a piece here. I got my cutting board, my cutter here, paper cutter. So I want it to do the very end of the top and the bottom. Let's kind of line it up like this. Don't do a lot of measuring. If you're new to my channel, you won't see me use a ruler too much, but once in a... Did you see that? I just moved it right after I put it down there. But I kind of just do stuff like this to measure. Okay, so I'm going to cut this right here. Okay, and that's not the piece that I was going for. That's too short that way. I'm going for this piece. Okay, so now to decide how wide do we want. I don't want it like inappropriately wide, so I'm going to make it probably like 1 inch. So I think I will measure 1 inch here and put a little mark right here where the inch is, and just cut this. I think a little bit beyond the inch. Let me make sure. Let me think about this for a second. If it was 1.5 inches, that would still, or 1 1/4 inches, 1.5 inches. I don't think it needs to be 1.5 inches. 1 1/4. Let's see. I think I'm going to make it just over, like 2 notches over 1 inch. I just want to make sure I have enough room for maybe 3 signatures in here. 3 chunky signatures. I think I can get 3 pretty good signatures in 1 inch and a couple of little millimeters. Okay, so that is an inch, a little bit bigger than an inch is what, yeah, it's still a little bit bigger than an inch. Okay, so that's for this one, this little green one. Now let's get the other spine ready. Let's see, that one's a little shorter. Will this one fit on that one? Oh wow, this one will fit on that one. How wide is this? This is 1.25 inches, but it's not straight on this side. So let's even that up and see if we can use this little piece that we just cut off of that cardboard. All right, cut a little sliver off. Let's see how, now we need to cut this spine off here. See that? It's just not gonna, this is, I'll show you what it looks like after I cut it off. I cannot save any of this as far as leaving it this way. I'm gonna cut right here. This, I'm sure this is not worth anything like it is, so we don't have to worry about that. In fact, most people probably would have thrown it in the trash if, and not even given it to the thrift store. I'm just lucky it ended up at the thrift store, right? Okay, so this piece I'm going to cut right on the edge. I want to look at it after I cut it off to see if I can use it. So here, here's another little piece here. That's just a piece of like fabric. I cut that off. And here's a little piece right here. All right, that is good. Now, let me look at this really good here and see if, I wonder if I can put that back on here in any way. I may be able to put that back on here. You know, I'll put something under it first. That would look nice, and then put this on top so you have the original spine. Okay, I'm going to save that. Yes, I didn't know if it was big enough. I couldn't tell when it was hanging off like that. Okay, so we have, I think we have our spine. Let me make sure it's top to bottom a bit long enough. You might not, well, let me see. It absolutely has to be long enough. If it's not long enough, I'm going to cut another piece. You know, I think it's just, I think it's okay. Yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah, I think it's okay. Okay, oh, we're good with that. Now, next, I want to go ahead and, I think I want to go ahead and glue this back down on here. Okay, so let me get some art glitter glue here. This does hold stuff like this together. I did another old book where I had to kind of glue the cover back together, kind of like this one. Not exactly like this one at all, but kind of, it's the most similar one I can think of, and it was that long, tall book. That was, what was it, a Mother Goose book, right? That I glued back together. So if you look back through my, and that had a spiral bound spine. I ended up using a spiral bound spine on that because of the way it was made. I just thought it would look best on it and turn out best, and it was the best way to recover that book cover. So this one, you know, I'm making a new spine, and this art glitter glue, there's a little piece of extra paper in there. Let me get that off of there. Does hold these kind of covers together. So let's just kind of push that back over where it's supposed to be. So we're basically repairing this book cover as best we can before we make a new spine for it. So there's a little bit of stuff that's not flat right here. So I'm going to have to put some tape on here though to hold the new spine on. So tape will be covering up part of this, but I still want to start out with it flat like this. See, even the corners, you can use that art glitter glue on. Okay, I think the front is good. I'm going to go in the back side here. See, this is coming apart. So, and there's several layers of like the cardboard or whatever the book is made out of. You can just put some art glitter glue in between there and kind of push it together, and it kind of just glues it all back together. It really does. That's how the other one was that I worked on. I had to glue the corners together like that. Okay, and so this is another piece. I said I wanted to keep this inside piece as much as possible. This corner, I'm just going to see, I can see the layers there. I'm just going to try to get some art glitter glue in there to kind of re-solidify and harden that corner in the cover, because even though it's old and grungy, I want it to see how that kind of reformed it now that I put it back together with the glue in there, and kind of just push it back together, and it kind of like reformed the corner. Okay, let's look at the top. This one too. There's a layer here on the inside. Let's get some under there. And kind of just wipe it around, get it in there, and then you get your piece from the back laid down and just squish your corner back together, and you're reforming it again. See, it was kind of wide where it was separating, and now can you see how skinny that is now? It's kind of back together. And don't be afraid. The art glitter glue doesn't, it dries clear, and it doesn't dry shiny, so it's kind of like you can be pretty brave with it and kind of just put it on there, and you really don't even, by the time it dries, you don't even know that you did that. You know what I mean? It looks like it was always like that. Okay, or not always, but you know what I mean. Like it wasn't apart and you didn't glue it back together. So we're going to put a little bit under here. This is coming up too on the, what is that, the bottom, I think. Yeah, that's the bottom. This is the bottom inside piece that we're kind of, I can see it sticking up over the edge here. So I'm kind of gluing that back down. And push it down. Push it all down and leave it. Then I have to leave it alone to dry and not keep messing with it, right? So I don't pull it back up. Okay, I think that is down. I just want to squish it together a little bit. Make sure it's not separating still. Okay, I think we've got it. Looking better already, right? Even though it's still growing dirty and grungy, but I think it's going to be cool. So, made quite a mess here, a little bit in front of me. Got some very fine fibers on this. Let me kind of wipe this off a little bit. Okay. Now for the spine. Let's see if we can get this together real quick. And this is pretty thick, but I think I have done this before, where the book cover is actually thicker than this, but I don't like to make this too thick because that just makes it harder to sew in your new pages, right? So as with all of the books where you add a new spine, you need a little gap here. And I know you have, if you're new to my channel, maybe you haven't seen me do this, but I've done this several times, but it's the same way I usually do it. I leave a little gap in between the spine because you need that to, bend your cover. I use this duct tape. This is neutral colored. That's why I use this, in case it shows later on. It kind of blends in with everything, and it's just Duck brand, D-U-C-K, duct tape from Walmart. And it's back in the craft section, wherever your craft section is. That's where I get this, where they have all these big rolls of tape there at Walmart. So this is going to go over the whole thing here. It's going to fit over, so I'm just going to put it from, I guess I'll just start off at the top here and put it down straight so that it does not go crooked. Okay. It's just a little bit over, like, I'm going to say 1/4 of an inch over the side. This side is even less over, like 1/2 of a 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so I'm going to press it down a little bit at this point still. I just want to make sure it's not like overstretching or not going to bend, you know what I mean? Okay, so it looks good. So then I just turn it around, and this one you can just turn it around and then pull some more off of the little spool here. And I want to get it straight. I don't want like any wrinkles or anything. I want everything flat. So let me just pull this around like this so I can get a nice flat straight piece. Okay, and I can kind of see what's happening here. This separated a little bit, I see, so at this point I can pick this up. I can still pick this up. I can do it over if I need to, but I see that my cover's moved a little bit. So my gap, there's my gap again. And this one, see, it's too close. I need to do that one over too. And now I pulled that off. Well, it's all part of the little game here. Let's glue this back on. It's all part of the process. It'll all work out in the end. Okay. And see how some of my book peeled off on there? I'm going to put a little glue on this one, on this side. Okay. Now I want to keep it. See, I making sure my front is in the right place, my back is in the right place, my inside and my outside is in the right place. I have my little gap there. And now I'm going to push my book back down on there. And see, it's going to be like this, front and back cover. And then I'm going to pull this around. And you'll see how we'll see how it's overlapping. Make sure it's overlapping enough. We can always add another piece of tape if it's not overlapping enough. And I don't want to try to go like that and cover up that if it's not overlapping enough over there. I'll just use another piece of tape because this has got to be straight as I can and flat. Okay. Straight as I can and flat. Okay, so you can't make it go in direction it doesn't want to go in. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to cut this off here so I can work with it a little easier. Okay, so I'm going to flatten this out and then turn it around and then fold it down here. I want it to be flat again, straight, and not pull down too much. Like I don't want it to be like it's pulling the cover down, which I don't know if it could. This is pretty hard, but if it were a little bit soft there on the top, I wouldn't want it to be making a dent or anything. Okay, so I'm just going to flatten that out and see how it goes and see how it looks and see if we need any more tape. I want to put it in my grooves, flatten it all out, bend it. It actually looks really good. And we're going to be covering this up. So we're going to have something else holding this all together too. But for right now, this is how it is. And I think I'm going to leave it like that for the moment. And I like it. What do you think? Pretty cute, right? For a little grungy dictionary journal. And then if we have time, let's see if we have time to do this one real quick. I'm not really timing myself, so I hope this doesn't get cut off. But if it does, that'll just be the way it happens, I guess. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if we can do this one real quick, and then we'll stop the video and do a separate video for the next step. But this should be quicker. I'm going to try not to move my book around like I did on the last one, and that'll go a little quicker. Okay, so all right, it's overlapping both sides. I'm going to turn it over. This is how it's supposed to go. The other one moved, so that's why I had to pick it up and reposition it. Okay, I'm going to pull off some more tape. And it's trying to wrinkle up on me there. Okay, pull it up straight again. See, I'm not covering up the words over here either. That's working out really well. I'm going to pull this up a little bit so I can have a little bit of overlap. Cut this off. And then fold this down. I'm just hurrying a little bit so my video doesn't cut me off. But there we go. And I'm going to work on, probably work on putting some over here, and then see if I can work on this, putting that back on there. But I'm not guaranteeing that will work out, putting that old spine back on here. But I'm going to see what I can do. Oh, no, that goes on the other one. That's the brown one. That doesn't go on here. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so there you go. That's the second one. I'm going to push this down a little bit more and push it into the grooves. But there you go. Super cute, right? I think these are going to be really neat. So that's my project. First project of 2021. I'll be back with the next step. So I hope you enjoyed this step, and you'll, craft along with me on these and enjoy the process. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Happy crafting. Have a good night.